Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Move, a show where we share transportation, sales, and marketing success stories. I am Jennifer Carpus-Romain, Executive Director of TMSA, a trade nonprofit educating and connecting marketing and sales professionals in transportation and logistics. And today on the show, I have Jason Jimenez-Vanover, CEO of JCI Marketing, and Kevin Jessop, COO of JCI Marketing. We're so excited to have you on the show. Welcome to On the Move. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Very good.
So let's dive in and hear your guys' industry origin stories. Give us a quick version of how you guys kind of both got into the industry. I know your stories kind of overlap into this beautiful thing that then became JCI Marketing.
Yeah, so I spent, 10, 15 years in sales and realized I didn't like talking on the phone very much. So I figured I would leverage a little bit more of my creative nature and love for data into marketing. So about 10 years ago, jumped into marketing. That's where I met Jason. I was on the client side at a little 3PL. And Jason was our ghostwriter. So Jason was a professional writer for, 10, 15 years as well, something like that.
150.
Yeah. Yeah. And so through a lot of M&A, I ended up not wanting to be on the client side anymore. And we moved over to the agency side. Jason and I met up again there. And then kind of realized we wanted to do something a little different kind of on our own. Jason, you want to take that part?
Yeah. And then as things kind of evolved, I kept looking at all these different automations and automated functions that could be done through the different platforms. It evolved into what is now JCI Marketing. And that really started with grassroots marketing. And then I connected back again with Kevin to help us scale and make sure that the trains run on time. And that's been
Perfect.
3 years, 40 or something.
Love
like
that. Love the journey. Love that you went from, I think this is why I always talk when, if I'm counseling like younger people in their careers, like don't burn bridges, because you just never know when you're going to be overlapping with people again, or when the opportunity is going to be there. Anytime, like when I was writing journalistically, I was always like, hey, if you need a freelance writer, let me know. Same with marketing stuff. Like you just never know when those relationships are going to come into play. And you guys are kind of the perfect example of that, because there was a trust that was built over the years. And now you guys have this company together, which is
Gosh, it's been like 7 years now. No, it's more than that.
More than that. I believe we first met in 2015.
That's wild.
Because it was
It's gone by fast.
Yes, it was. When we met, we were still young and beautiful. But
seasoned and beautiful now.
I didn't have gray in the beard at that point. Yeah.
I still had hair. But let's get back on track here.
So you guys came together and decided, to start JCI. What kind of gap did you see in the market that made you say, like, hey, we should be building this ourselves?
Yeah, for me, it was more of this relational component where I think a lot of our competition, I guess, doesn't really have that we approach, where we wanted to create a company truly that our success is measured by our client success. We wanted to build relationships with people, because especially from the days of COVID on, everyone feels really disconnected, and there's these silos and it's hard to build relationships. And so we wanted to do things a little bit differently. We wanted to have relationships that were more friendly. Yeah, you pay us an invoice, but we want to be your partner. And I think a lot of other agencies kind of say things like that, but when you get in those closed door meetings, you realize it's not necessarily that, and it's very rigid. And we just didn't want to do that. So that was kind of the gap that I saw, was this kind of missing humanity a little bit. and empathy, and we wanted to create a company around that.
Exactly. And when our first relationships with our clients started, yes, they were business, but they have lasted even through clients changes. We have friends who we stay in contact with who changed industries entirely, or they went on to greener pastures, pa- greener
Pastures.
pastures. Writer, not a speaker all the time.
Yeah.
And the big gap that I saw a very long time ago was what is now known as AI work slop,
Mhm.
because AI has been around for ages. It's just most people didn't realize they were already using it. And with my background, as a freelance writer originally, I'd seen all of these different tools and platforms. We were first exposed to some of the generative AI stuff almost 12 years ago, or at least I was. And I started seeing, okay, I think that this could be done this way and that way. And then, of course, when ChatGPT came out, I realized, okay, this can really accelerate now. And it was within a year after that that I like reconnected with Kevin and said, hey, we need to have a conversation because I know where this is going and I cannot do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I think you may have the very unique skill set that I need to complement mine. And there's a whole other backstory around EOS and everything in there. But we found out that we are like the perfect visionary integrator pair.
Yes,
So
I 100%. I think it's so important when people know who they are, what they're good at, and what complements them. And I met Jason first, and then later on, I met Kevin. I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is a good, great pairing. Like, and because you need that balance, because I've
Yeah.
seen people that are like, oh, we like create ideas together, but it's like somebody has to create the ideas and someone has to be able to push them through. And that pairing is so important. And I always applaud people that really like are self-reflective, know who they are, what they bring to the table, and find that partner, because those are the companies that are successful. So I
Yeah.
love that for you guys.
100%. And it's just really important because I'm sure the listeners and everyone will figure out throughout this, I can get distracted very, very easily. And I see something shiny and I want to gravitate to it. So without
really
going
cool, though.
deeper into that tangent.
Yeah. Well, I do want to kind of punctuate that tangent a little bit. What's really cool, because of the EOS model, it's the entrepreneurial operating system for
Mhm.
those who don't know what EOS is. But it basically forces you to stay in that lane. But because both of us are kind of both visionary and integrator, sometimes our hats switch a little bit, and I'll be more of a visionary and he'll be an integrator. But when we do switch, we make sure to stay in those lanes, and it just kind of works really well, and we can be flexible. Anyways, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's good. You guys definitely have a good, like, getting to know you both. It's like a really good, strong partnership. And I've enjoyed working with you guys so far. So it's been great.
Fantastic.
When you look at B2B marketing in transportation logistics today, what do you think most companies are still getting wrong?
Hmm. Kevin, do you want to take
Yeah.
this one?
Sure, I'll take it. Yeah. So I think teams are still trying to do everything in-house.
Mm.
I think there's this stigma that they think that that's more efficient or uh, uh, more budget friendly. When in reality, it just kind of isn't. To partner with an agency who has done what you're trying to do dozens and dozens of times and has proven results, that kind of partnership is invaluable, and can really take your productivity and efficiency and strategy to the nth degree, right? And so I think a lot of companies, especially in transportation and logistics, are still trying to do it in-house, which means they're stretched too thin, kind of unable to see the forest through the trees. And also in our experience, when we're in some discovery calls with clients or we're doing some consulting, companies get distracted with shiny things really easily. For example, just maybe a month ago, the big thing to do, the trend, right, to get on AI search was to start just bombarding Reddit, and then OpenAI and Google kind of realized that and they fixed it in the background. But if there were companies that we were talking to that were really trying to shift their entire strategy over the course of a couple days to weeks to really hone in on Reddit, and then it wasn't valuable anymore. So I think if you have a good strategy and you're consistent, you can stick to it. That's the game, right? That's the ticket. Yeah.
If I may add something real quick, just because it's so valuable. All transportation and logistics marketers, you cannot legally use Reddit for a marketing purpose,
Yeah.
but we've actually found leads on Reddit, people saying, I have a load I need to move and I don't have a 3PL. Does anybody know anyone that can help me? Check it out. Look at it. And same thing that we see sometimes on LinkedIn. But just to finalize the whole topic of where companies are still getting things wrong, I want you to consider this. 80% of B2B marketers are either working solo or a team of less than 5. And then in addition to that, almost 60% lack resources. Fewer than 30% of sales teams trust MQLs because they just see this one tiny part of a company trying to handle all of these other things. And then there's the continuous battle of how do you connect marketing performance to business outcomes? Because let's be real, every company on the planet has the goal of revenue growth. They all want more leads.
If they don't, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Everyone wants more leads. Getting more leads is not a marketing strategy. That is an outcome.
Yeah. It's a goal. Good goal to
it's
have.
a great goal. It's a top goal.
Not a
Fantastic goal. But think about that. If your whole marketing strategy is we're going to get more leads, you are literally no different than anyone else.
Yeah.
So you have to think about what is that strategy going to be? And that really kind of makes us think, okay, like, how do we set ourselves apart? And please, for the love of God, do not put we're different because in your content. It drives me mad, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I would say one of my favorite quotes, and hopefully I get it right, but like a dream without a plan is just a wish, or a goal without a plan is just a wish, because that's what and I repeat that personally and professionally a lot, because yes, you have to build, like just making this, yes, I want more leads, but how? Like, what is the plan? How are you doing that? How are you executing that? And yes, like TMSA members we find have very small marketing teams. And so everything that you said is true. And even before I got this role, I was a marketing team of 1. And so I thought a lot about how to maximize what I was doing in efficiency. This is what I talk a lot to members. And to your point earlier, it's not just, oh, we should keep everything in-house because we're the experts of what we do. No, I'm one person. I'm a copywriter by nature. I'm more on the creative side. I have learned to adapt to do the numbers and those kinds of things over my career. But like, I'm not an SEO expert. I'm not following those trends, nor should I. That's a very targeted thing that you should be outsourcing, or at least having a consultant look over what you're doing wherever your price point is. But like you guys said, there are experts who are doing this and they're going to do it better than your one solo person who's running around with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
And so usually, allowing them to build their team in a way that makes sense for your budget is so important.
Yeah. And the cost of an agency is less than a part-time employee. Oh, like a lot of agencies. There's some that are more expensive. But
yes.
Yeah.
And depending on, of course, level of experience, all of that. But it's just it's constantly evolving. And maybe you don't have regular marketing needs, but you need, it's always good to have that sounding board. Yes, you can
Mhm.
talk with OpenAI and ChatGPT and every large language model that you can think of to brainstorm ideas. Doesn't necessarily mean what's going to give you is true.
Mhm.
So having that, personal kind of touch really is where um, we shine. And I
Mhm.
know that comes across as boasting, but that is the
Sometimes
truth.
it's
Like
okay to
it's my
talk.
favorite thing about this is
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like
Well,
being
and
sounding boards.
yeah.
That's the
Yes.
fun
And
part of
the
the
chat
job.
GPT, like I love my chat GPT. Her name is Atlas, but because she guides me. I had her name herself. And
That's great.
but she's not like, and I will say, like over the past couple weeks, I'm like, Atlas, what is going on? Like you're not as engaged. She apologized, which was hilarious. But I was like, what's happening? What prompt am I not giving you? What are we not keeping? Like, because she's not a real person. She is the robot in the computer. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you have to remember that it's that. But when you're working with real people, they understand more and they are empathetic and they have different perspectives. Or even like I've set my chat GPT to be in sparring mode now, like poke holes in what I'm doing, because I'm like, I can't just have you be a hype person. I need you, if we're working together, me and the robot, I need you to assess what I'm doing, and not like, I don't want just not having a second opinion or whatever, but like, yes,
Yeah.
working with people. That's why I call upon my partner members too when we're doing stuff for TMSA, why we have committee members at TMSA that like look at what we put out before we do it, like because it's so important to have that network, have that support. So
Mhm.
I do think
I
that's where agencies shine for sure.
I do have one quick tip on that, where
Mhm.
if your OpenAI or ChatGPT,
Yes.
whatever, is being far too much of a hype person, give it the specific instruction to act like an angry English high school teacher.
Perfect. I
And
did. Yes.
I
I
know
I
that is
yes.
very, very specific
Specific.
and almost prejudiced, but it works for
Mhm.
whatever reason, and it does tend to
Yeah.
produce some better results. Does
Yeah.
still can make lots of errors, don't get
Sure.
me wrong, it's okay,
Yes.
but
But I mean, your English teacher is who's going to critique your work. I mean, journalism school, I was actually explaining this the other day. Like, if I got somebody's name wrong in an article, like a mock article for school, you'd be down a letter grade. Like
Wow.
it didn't matter. Yes, that's why, again, why I freak out with names and why I had to write them down before we started, because I'm like, no, I'll fail if I mispronounce names or write them wrong. But so anyways, on the flip side, so we talked about what people can do, what they're doing wrong, but what are the winning companies doing right now? What are they doing differently with their digital strategies? Obviously optimizing AI, remembering it's a robot, not a person. Big
Yeah.
tip. But what else
Yeah.
can we advise people on?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things, right? I think the most important is it's the same answer that it's always been, right? Being consistent, establishing what your strategy is, write it down, and then do it. And don't get distracted by the shiny things. If you're doing that, you're going to be okay, as long as your strategy has a little bit of logic to it. But with the inception of AI search and things like this, we're seeing a big shift, right, in just marketing, especially digital marketing in general. And since Google came out in what, 2003 or 4, SEO,
1998.
Like, tell the
yeah,
children you're
oh
older than
gosh,
Google. They freak
yeah,
out.
I think it was
I know, right?
1998 or 1995. I don't remember which.
But the role of SEO from the time it came out until just this year really has been finding ways to game the algorithm to get the
Mhm.
best results, right?
Mhm.
But what they're doing now, and especially at the rate at which they're doing it, you can't really game the algorithm anymore. We're seeing this huge, just industry wide. It's not even just us, it's just marketing in general. People aren't clicking through anymore because they're getting their answers in the summaries.
Mhm.
So what do you do? How do you get people to your website? Well, a good omni-channel marketing strategy where you're creating content and you are the owner of the distribution and not relying on SEO, still doing SEO, but not relying on it. Creating your own community and getting the content to them directly. That's how you beat the game now, right? Like, it's having that strategy, sticking to it, and not relying too much on one particular thing. So those are the companies that I'm seeing right now that are really winning, are the ones who have a full omni-channel marketing strategy, and they're sticking to it. They're being consistent.
And just to kind of piggyback on that, SEO is still extremely important, but it's going by a lot of new names these days. Answer engine optimization, generative engine optimization, Reddit answer engine optimization. There's 900 new acronyms. Let me be very clear in this. The same tactics you use for traditional SEO are the same tactics that are being applied by those large language models to assess content. And the difference is that they're not necessarily pulling from the top, 5 slots or the top 10 slots. You may have content appearing inside of AI overviews and large language models that usually would be sitting on pages 4 or 5. The reason that companies can succeed if they're tracking that is you almost universally have to work with an agency to do this. Because if you, Jen, were to go out and ask your LLM, tell me everything about TMSA that you can find on the internet, your instance is going to make you think you're doing better than you actually are, because it knows you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It knows your computer, your IP address, the histories, the cache data. All of that affects how it responds. So unless you have an agency or some sort of third-party tool that can completely isolate itself away and say, here's what you're going to do, then you can really kind of succeed in it. Because ultimately, you have to recognize that getting more leads is going to take longer than it used to. You have to invest in marketing, knowing that the payout is months away. And in logistics, and I part of me dies when I say this, those leads could even be years away.
Yeah.
You look for a very high volume search term that's really competitive, LTL shipping in Florida, for example, you don't have anything around LTL on your blog or content or anything, start off knowing you got 18 months before you're going to really see any kind of measurable improvements. Now, you may see some gains along the way, but you have to keep investing in that marketing. And the other thing you also have to bear in mind is that the average time of the buyer journey is evolving. In the past, before all of the large language models and AI overviews, we could say our buying cycle is, 182 days from the time they first saw us. Well, now you may not know whether they saw you or not. The average B2B buying cycle is 394 days now.
Oof.
And more than half of that might be hidden inside of large language models where they don't even ask about companies. They're just wondering how they could do it themselves. So you really have to kind of think about it. Like, what exactly are you hoping to accomplish? How can we get to that goal? And then, you need to make sure that you're hitting all of the bases: SEO, reviews, LinkedIn, social media, creating content, updating content, retiring content, coming up with new
I
content.
thought you were just saying retiring, period. That was too much.
Creating content.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest, right? I had hair when I started all of this. I'm not that old. So this is a stressful industry, but I love it.
We are, that's so much information, so great. And I want to pause for a second, just because we are very deep in budget strategy season. There's so much that you just covered about tips, tricks. Is there one thing that every company should be doing on digital right now, no matter what their budget or size is? Is there one thing, if there's one nugget they take away if they weren't listening to all that masterclass you guys just rolled out?
Yeah. And this one's free, right? Take your phone, just take your phone, and show a little bit behind the curtain. That record some video of the people powering the machine, right? People want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. The easiest way to do that is to highlight the people in a transparent, authentic way, not polished, not with a lot of, fancy cinema gear. I do have that. I can do that. But uh, shooting with your phone, just pictures, video, get interviews from people that are maybe a little bit more seasoned, that can carry a good conversation around the industry, that actually work there. Highlight the people. If you can do that and you can get that out and distribute it, people that you haven't even started conversations with, right? You don't even know that they exist. They're not in the buying cycle yet, but they'll already know, like, and trust you when they're ready to move forward.
Exactly. And then 100% to get on to continue what Kevin was saying, that unpolished video doesn't necessarily only have to be external. You can use your videos to keep your C-suite involved, because one of the big issues that happens is that C-suite doesn't always understand exactly what marketing's doing, because they're like, well, they're responsible for getting more leads, and we haven't had any new leads in a couple weeks, so they must not be doing their jobs. That's
Well,
not true.
mhm.
Just though keeping people informed, and you can convey so much more in a 5-minute video, 30-second video, whatever, than you can in an entire blog. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video must be worth millions.
Yeah, that's something. When I was a solo marketing team on the client side, that was something that was a real struggle. I had a lot of ambition to do a lot of fun projects. I had no budget. And something that we've started helping some of our clients with is doing this exact thing, doing a quick weekly video with Loom, just no production value, but just to highlight what's happening, where we are with metrics, how's the quarter looking, where are we year over year, all the good updates. And they send that to their C-suite. And we've seen really positive responses coming back to where their budget next year is being increased by a lot, because now there's confidence. So that's also free. You can do that right now. You can do that today.
I love Loom. Not a product placement, but Loom is great.
Right.
I use it like if I'm having a tech issue, like why I don't know what you can screen share and be like, this is what it's supposed to do, this is what it's not doing, and then you send that. It's so awesome.
Keep it under 5 minutes and it's free. You don't have to do the paid version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Extra pro tip: if you get those Loom videos and give them to ChatGPT, it can make content out of them.
That's true.
Perfect.
Just always.
So I want to like circle back on something you said. You were talking about the C-suite specifically, but I think sales teams too don't fully understand that role that digital marketing is playing. So how do you coach teams through that mindset barrier, whether they are trying to appeal to that C-suite so that they can get bigger budgets to do more of the cool stuff, but also, so like we said, the sales teams don't always trust the MQL. How do we get them to entrust what the marketing is doing?
Yeah, so a lot of agencies, what we've seen is a lot of agencies have kind of left a bad taste in the mouths of marketing teams. And sometimes agencies won't even pivot or share additional information. So, for example, if you think back a couple months to either the Reddit discussion or when ChatGPT suddenly was indexing conversations, which was a really, really terrible thing that lasted all of 7 days. One of the things that you really have, I have talked myself into a circle here. I am so sorry. You have to connect with your sales team on these are the precursory steps and things that have to happen so that you're not just becoming another extended car warranty salesman. Because if you do not have those leads properly warmed up, if they are not true MQLs, and let's be honest, a form fill on a random website page is not making MQL. You need to make sure sales is following up with the right types of leads. And I'm sure that everyone watching this has done this at some point in the past, where they filled out a form, All they wanted was the content. They didn't want to buy the new software. They were not interested in purchasing the new 2027 Chevy rocket truck or whatever. They just wanted more information.
Yeah.
You have to make sure your sales team understands not every lead is a lead that is going to buy tomorrow. And you really have to communicate that. But unfortunately, many agencies approach it from a view of our scope of work is to do marketing. We are not going to help you with sales. And that can, it's sad, but it is what we've seen.
Yeah.
And so you really have to be willing to kind of say, okay, let's flex and help the client, even though it's not necessarily something that we are charging for, but it is part of our model that has helped us continue to grow and continue to invest and really kind of scale. So yeah.
Can I add to that real
And
quick?
yes, sir.
I think lead scoring, like proper lead scoring, is invaluable.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with sales leaders talking about just the crappy leads that come over because they weren't ready, right? I think back to when I was on the client side, and the directive I had was anyone who fills out a form to download a white paper is an MQL. That's not accurate at all. And so we were sending over hundreds of leads every single month of just people who wanted to download a white paper. You know, those aren't qualified leads yet. They weren't properly scored. And so of course sales was getting annoyed. Of course they lost trust and faith in the leads that we were providing. And then they just stopped calling them. They didn't see the leads as valuable, which affected the revenue down the line, right?
Yeah.
And so if we would have implemented proper lead scoring well earlier, actually warm those leads up. Sure, they're marketing leads now, but we need to qualify them and get them warmed up and ready to go. And then we could have seen better things. So I think that's a big factor right now with why a lot of sales teams still don't fully understand our role. And also because I don't know if a lot of marketing teams understand that part of their role.
If you do not take those leads and put them into email marketing efforts, newsletters, sales sequences. Okay, yes, sales sequences are usually owned by the sales team, but let's be honest, marketing does them half the time anyway. So until they actually convert and say, I'm ready to talk, or send me some more info, or they, God forbid, pick up the phone and call you. Until something like that happens and you have that clear criteria, which we will say this person is ready for sales, that's the point at which they should be reaching out. Yeah, sure. You can always take those random form fills and be like, hey, give them to the salesperson and be like, this person is in our ICP, our ideal customer profile. You might consider connecting with them on LinkedIn or following them as the sales rep, but don't start bugging them, because if that sales rep takes that lead and starts calling them the next day, there is an extremely good chance you are going to fall on their enemies list. JCI originally was considering using Salesforce as our CRM. Guess what happened when I requested the pricing information? They called me 8 times within 24 hours.
It's a lot.
You know what I did? I went and bought HubSpot the next day. So you have to be mindful. It is possible to be too aggressive as a sales rep.
I would agree.
That will be more harmful.
I liked what you guys said about like what's the actual qualifier, because just downloading a white paper, not good enough. Like there has to be more, or continued. Like maybe if they downloaded 4 white papers, then that's where we're going, or whatever that looks like. The other advice that I like to give people too is like, as a marketing person, go on sales calls, hear how they pitch, that will help you create content that will actually help them in their sales cycle. And then 2, when you actually land customers, ask them how they heard about you, because that will help you determine in your qualifiers, in your stages of the content and the things that you sent to them, what they actually remembered about you, because it's probably not that first thing that they actually saw. It's probably like the 7th thing that they saw, but then it'll help you really track that. And of course, then give back to your sales team, connect, be like, oh, okay, marketing is actually helping us. This lead, like this customer actually did come from that process.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about some of this stuff, and like you guys mentioned the Reddit and things like that, but is there any other like trend that you think people are overhyping, or something that they should be paying attention to that they're not?
Yeah.
Automation, and it can be both. Kevin, you go first, and then I will go. So
yeah. So on the part that they're overhyping, right? I think a lot of sales and marketing people are just using free ChatGPT or Copilot built into their Google Workspace, and they're not really giving it the appropriate context that it needs to be accurate. And so those results that they get are what we would call AI slop, or just unreliable. Like, it can get a lot of information wrong if you're not being really, really careful with that mode of operation. You could burn some bridges pretty quick and get yourself into some trouble. There's some ways to do it correctly, but if you're just jumping in and thinking, oh, this is good, don't do that.
No.
And as far as that goes, there is a lot of things that you can do with automation. But for right now, no one really cares about automation. What everyone cares about right now is, oh, we have AI agents, we have agentic AI. Agentic AI is extremely overhyped. Now, let me explain why. Agentic AI has a very simple definition. It is you allowing a large language model to act as your agent. So what does that mean, really? Well, all an agentic AI is, at its core, is an API overlaid, application programming interface, just for anybody new to the industry, is an API that has been overlaid with an LLM somewhere on it, and allowing that large language model, LLM, to effectively structure subsequent API calls and make decisions based on that information, and then act on that downstream activities. Technically, that's what forms an agentic AI workflow. And when those workflows combine and start taking on more and more tasks, you start to see different capabilities and functions arise that people start calling them AI agents or AI employees, or my trusty GPT assistant that I custom built, or whatever. But you still have to monitor everything, because if you don't, that agentic AI capabilities, the new fun functions that everyone is talking about, can be your doom. So yes,
That's aggressive.
I know that's very, very pessimistic.
I just keep thinking about the clips that I'm going to pull out from this episode. That is, it can be your doom. End clip.
Yeah, it can be your doom. But if you go to a company that has been at the forefront of agentic AI, using agentic AI capabilities before it was all hype, you will be better apt to succeed in the future. JCI, we built an agentic AI before we even knew that that was what it was called 3 years ago. So you have to really recognize that AI agents are really, really hype. They're really, really cool. There's a lot of things they can do. There's a lot of things they cannot do. And then you get into this whole conversation about AI orchestration. And I think Kevin has a little bit to talk about on that.
So this is something that should get people's attention. True AI orchestration through multi-agentic workflows rooted in deep research about your brand, that can really help automate those tedious tasks and give your team more time to focus on creative, the more fun stuff, and of course, have more targeted or focused strategy. The problem there is that is hard, really, really hard to do. We've been at the forefront of it, like Jason said, for 3 years now. And we have seen these things make a lot of mistakes in our testing. And it has taken thousands and thousands of hours to get it right so that it's reliable and accurate and the quality meets our standards, right? And so that's been the issue. I would not recommend anyone, any marketing team trying to do this. It's honestly just not a good it's not a good use of your time. So
I
I
recommend not trying to do it. What do you mean? Just because I
trying
don't
to
want
create this on your own, like
yeah.
to do AI orchestration on your own, not a valuable use of your time. It's literally taken us years. It like just in the past several months has it been reliable, um, a time saver and meet the quality so that we can just hit go and it work and we can trust it and it's good. Up until then, for the past several years, it's been very iffy. We've had to monitor it a lot, really have multiple human in the loop, different stations, if you will, to make sure that the quality is still there. And even then it would break a lot. Anyways, the amount of time that you would have to spend and money that you would have to spend to create this on your own, it's not wise for anyone to do. But partnering with someone else who's done it for you, that's the ticket right there.
Awesome.
100%.
And so you guys have given so much information, so much things to think about. I do want to touch on that, like, clearly you guys are putting in the work right now and you have some things coming up. What can we share or tease with our audience today?
I feel like the mustache twirling villain right now.
It's weird.
Kevin, you do this because
Okay.
I'm too excited and I will talk for the next half hour.
Yeah, we've run long, but this is really cool. Like I was just talking about, we've been spending years and thousands of hours really honing in on creating a tool that would be useful. And also just as someone who has been laid off several times through marketing, feel like once, especially in our volatile industry, every time things go sideways, marketing is the first on the chopping block.
100%.
So nothing but empathy coming from this side of the camera here. I never wanted to create something that would replace a person and their livelihood, but I do want to make that person more efficient, more valuable, and effective at their job. And so we have created a kind of SaaS platform that is in beta right now. We have a couple clients testing it out. I'm so excited. It's working and it's working so well. But essentially the purpose behind it is to do kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's AI orchestration through multi-agentic workflows to replace those tedious tasks so that you as a marketing professional can be more effective at your job. You can focus on the fun things instead of doing those mundane tasks. It's a slight tangent and I apologize because I know we've run long, but I was on a big marketing team years and years and years ago, and there was one person's job, which was literally just to watch Sprout Social, just in case anyone on the internet mentioned the company's name. That was their entire job. And I'm just like, I would bang my head up against a wall if that was the only thing that I did all day. That doesn't seem like a very efficient use of that person's time. What if we could automate that portion and have them do something more fun and valuable that fits their skill set, right? Let's do that. And so we've created something. It's called JMAP, and it will be releasing in the next couple months. So you can follow us at JCI Marketing on LinkedIn, jcimarketing.com. To get more
JCI-marketing.com.
dash marketing. I always forget the dash. My bad. But you can follow us there for more updates, and we'll be releasing some demos so you can see what it can do.
Yeah, and if you want to be in that when we roll out the next test group or anything, please reach out to myself or Kevin on LinkedIn. You can also reach us at jason@jci-marketing.com or kevin@jci-marketing.com. It's technically the hyphen, but dash is easier to say. And I'm, for most importantly around this SaaS platform, let me be very clear on this. It is not another chatbot. No one wants to have to sit and argue with more chatbots. That's actually one of the taglines we had when we built the first version, which we called the JCAI.
I love it. So excited. I feel like I've been getting teasers on this platform for quite a bit now. So I'm excited for it to come to fruition. It's been exciting to watch your guys' journey because you guys joined TMSA earlier this year. Jason got to come to Elevate. We got to meet in person. And that was awesome. And I am curious, just like kind of what does being in TMSA mean to you guys? What does it unlock as a marketing agency? Why do you think the industry associations are still a thing here in business in 2025?
It unlocks community. It reminds you are not in this alone. And for the last 3 years or so, it can really feel like that because it's been bad news story after bad news story after bad news story. And it takes a massive toll on your mental health. Okay. I can easily say that visiting Elevate, joining TMSA really created a sense of community that I didn't realize I was missing. And then also attending Elevate, you just cannot replicate those organic conversations and real world connections that happen when you're doing this stuff and you accidentally let a piece of tres leches cake fall on the shoe of the person standing next to you at the thing. Eileen found that really funny. I think that was Eileen. It might have been Whitney. I don't remember. But I've told Kevin this nonstop since June. My biggest regret throughout all of this is that I did not join TMSA when I started this.
Well, we love to have you now. And you were a pure delight to meet in person. And I love sitting in the chaotic mess of our LinkedIn chats that we've had ever since. But I was like, you're fine. I live in chaos. This seems normal to me.
Oh, yes, that was interesting. Kevin, I'll fill you in on the story. But
so excited to have you guys here. Excited to see what you guys have cooking up and coming. It's been a joy.
Yes, and remember, everyone, it's okay to slow down a little bit. Kevin was talking about this yesterday. It's going to be all right. No one's life is actually at stake in marketing. So give yourself a bit of grace. It's going to be all right. And we will see ya.
Well, I do. I have one question that I ask everybody. So I have to ask you guys because I can't sign off without doing it. And that's if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice younger. You could pick your age. It could be personally, it could be professionally. When would you go back to and what would you say? Which maybe slowing down is the bit of advice and that's okay. But I have to formally ask it.
Yeah.
So
that was his answer. Yeah.
I love it.
I literally read my
Kevin's answer. And you took it.
So here. Okay, Kevin, you do yours and I'll do mine.
Yeah.
Let's fix it.
So my advice to my younger self is it is okay to slow down. Everything's going to be all right. Just be present. My younger self was so focused on doing the next thing. And if I wasn't constantly busy, that I would feel like I was failing somebody. And that would force me to not be present, which ironically was me failing people. And so it's okay. Slow down. Just be present. Be where your feet are.
I love that.
Yeah. And mine was, why be so serious? No one's life is at stake in marketing.
Yes.
generally. So
Yeah.
give yourself a little grace. To echo Kevin's point, it's going to be all right. And even if it isn't, you'll be surrounded by the people that will unlock your true unique ability.
I love that. What a great way to end the show. Thank you guys both so much. This has been like a masterclass in all things marketing, and also highly recommend. Hopefully people watched it, because I feel like this was a funny one to watch our facial expressions as we went through the show.
We're gonna have so
Yeah.
much fun with the Opus clip.
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
and everything
I'm
that comes
pumped
from
about
that.
it, excited. Thank you guys again for coming on the show and being a part of TMSA, and I'll catch everybody next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Bye.